their form over the past 2
Dude,
weeks.
let's fucking
I guess
go.
the question is, how will their opponent Okami really feel?
Amazing,
coming out of
dude.
that
I
one?
do
Because
not understand how the fuck
not only did
got
they
that.
not close out the second map, but they also don't have that round difference advantage. And I mean, there is a real chance, thinking about it now, that these teams could finish very close together in the final standings. And I can envision a scenario where maybe they're 4th and 5th. And then Ferox will have that advantage. They will go out on top of Okami if they're on even points at the end. So, like, yikes. That's I don't think they'll be too happy with the fact that the round difference went against them.
No, I agree with you. But I think one thing that's probably going to be happening a lot is people are going to think, as they lose these maps or something to Ferox, they're looking at how Ferox came into this tournament, seeded, I think it was 6th in the end. But they're not playing at all like a 6-seeded team. They're playing really well, and they're really quickly adapting to their new roster. And they have far less flaws than the previous Season 11 Pro League roster had. So yeah, really trending up for them.
Well, we have Centis from Okami ready on the line. Let's say g'day.
Hi there, guys. How are you doing?
G'day, Centis. How's it going, man?
I'm kind of sad, to be honest. But besides that, pretty good.
I guess one question. Oh, do you want to? You know what, Raven? You go ahead.
You go. Yeah, you seem confident with your question.
All right. I had a question about. Of course, you guys were formerly known as TBD, now under the banner of Okami. Maybe talk us through what that actually means for you guys and sort of where that branding came from.
Oh yeah. So for that, I want to give a huge shout out to Candor and especially also Caliber Jacob. Both of them helped us extremely with the branding. Candor made all the graphics, made everything around that. He has been running the Okami account and has been doing so before for a Challenger League team in North America. And since they more or less don't exist anymore, I contacted him and asked if we could adapt that branding so we could have a Twitter account where our followers can see, where we have match postings, where we can have highlights, where we can have build a little community and have a little home for us. And he agreed to that, and so now we have the best logo in ANZ, and yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think that all sounds really cool, and it's really great of Candor and Caliber Jacob. My main question for you guys, though, is both maps we saw you up 6-3, and then it went to overtime on both of them. Maybe, are you able to give us some insight or just talk us through what was happening in those second halves?
On Clubhouse, it was mentality that killed us. We had the rehost came because one of our players had lagged and had to switch his net, and that killed our momentum. That completely kicked us between the legs, if you want to say it like that, and just really hurt us at that point. We were able to come back from that because we were able to refresh the mentality. But that did knock us down for the second map. We were able to go positive on that 6-3 again. But once again, it was mentality, and then the playstyle didn't really... I think the mentality is what is bringing us to overtime week on week again. And we have to work on that, and we are. And it's hard, because it's not just, hey, you have to play differently. It's... each player has to work on that, and we as a team have to work on that, and it's very hard, and it feels very bad that it's because of something like that where we lose, and especially with a 6-3 lead.
Now, of course, next week you guys will be taking on Team Sinister. I guess, what are you and the team sort of expecting heading into that one?
I think it's going to be an interesting match. They're very good in the standings. I'm not sure where they are at this moment, but they've been consistently over the last season strong opponent. I'm not sure if we were able to beat them 2-0 or 1-1 in the last Pro League season, but I think we should have a good chance at least to get another 3 points, but obviously we're hoping for 6 more. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Centis, we appreciate your time. All the best next week.
Thank you very much. Bye.
I think it was really interesting mentioning the fact that that rehost maybe did kill their momentum a little bit, because when you have that downtime, maybe the just mentality wasn't right. And I guess it kind of showed that, I mean, in the end, of course, on that map, they did win it, but it was not convincing by any stretch.
Yeah, and it can be tough when you've got the momentum or you've got the lead and you have a break for whatever reason. It can be tough to try and continue that on. I mean, that's just the sign of a really strong mental team if they're able to do so. And Centus really clearly gave us that insight that they are struggling a little bit in that regard. So definitely unfortunate for them, and I think they will be severely kicking themselves given that they had 3 match points, if you want to call it that, on both maps. They did at least secure one of them, but the other one did slip away.
Yeah, I mean, like we mentioned earlier, I can't help but feel that that score difference that might cost them later in the season, and they're not the only team. Let's not make this some sort of anomaly. They are not the only team that could suffer from these score differentials if it comes down to tiebreaks later in the season. I mean, Elevate and LFO, for example, is another one that really stands out. Like, it proves that not only is the competition really, really close, but there's a whole nother layer to that competitiveness, which is that score differential. And I mean, I don't want to curse Okami, but look, I hope it doesn't come back to bite them, because this loss will hurt even more.
Yeah, and I mean, this could be the situation for a lot of teams as we move forward, because it's not just Ferox that Okami have to think about their head-to-head with. They still have really tough opponents that are also in their neck of the woods, such as Elevate and Wildcard. So I think towards the end of the season, because of the way the map veto is and how these series work, it really could be a hectic situation in terms of round differentials and who's got head-to-head against who. I can foresee some really tight finishes to Six Masters.
Well, we have our interview with Team Ferox ready and waiting. Let's beam it up.
Hey guys, how are we?
Deptra, what's up, mate? Congrats for arguably, I guess, sort of winning tonight in a sense. How you guys feeling?
Yeah. Look, we're pumped. The adrenaline's still flowing. You know, you should have heard the comms on that last round there. Boy, it was insane. Yeah.
Look, walk us through. I mean, it was 2 very tough maps for you guys. Clubhouse slowly slipped away, and both times you came back from 6-3 deficits at some stage. Maybe just give us some insight on how that really played out for you guys.
I mean, look, we did the same thing as Wildcard last week. We start at a big deficit, and then we just figure it's match point. We should actually start trying now, you know, make the comeback happen. No, but really though, I think it's a big game for us of momentum, and once we get the fundamentals right of our like droning and just how we're pushing things, and once we can adapt and read a team, especially on Coastline there with our attacks, we kind of figured out, you know, pushing minis not the play. They had a massive Warmire set up with shields and whatnot, so we just figured, you know, let's go officers for those plants, and you know, it worked out. So, yeah.
Yeah. And you yourself, I just want to bring it up. You yourself had a really big 1v2 clutch on Clubhouse, which basically saved the map, right? Because that was when it was 6-3. We were just amazed that you were able to get the angle. Can you talk us through comms? Did you know he was there, or was that kind of just...
Yeah, no, we did have comms on that. Fortunately, I was just far out. Struggling to remember back then because I'm just still processing everything. But yeah, pretty much just closed out the first guy and managed to have comms. I think it was Warden called it to me, second dude. So I managed to find him and get that, and there was a lot of momentum on that after that round win. We thought the guy was going to cover me from moto, but luckily I was managed to get the shot off in time.
Awesome. Well, looking ahead to next week, you guys will be taking on Elevate. Safe to say they're a pretty strong opponent. What are you guys expecting in that one?
Oh, look, we're just going to have to bunker down, do some VOD reviews, make our own strats, keep going back to the drawing board, and hopefully come new next week.
Awesome. Well, Deptra, we appreciate your time. It was a long one tonight. Good work on sticking it out, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Thanks, guys, for the cast.
See you, mate. Oh man, you could just feel the energy like radiating there. He was like, as he mentioned, the adrenaline is still flowing. Like, even after such a long series, he is up and about. I don't think he's gonna be sleeping until about 4 a.m.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like when you've got the late game and you have a series like that. I mean, it's almost midnight for us.